Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever this podcast may find you. It is I, as always, Gavin.
And I, Justin.
Boy, did we go dumpster diving today.
We went a little bit deep on some Bring a Trailer listings, just randomly diving through whatever we could find on the site.
Yeah, I think this could be something fun that we don't necessarily do every episode, but we could, kind of check back in and just see where the market's at. The listeners will be learning with us in real time to see, what's going on because, yeah, you and I will pick stuff up occasionally and then kind of keep it in the memory bank, but then it might be outdated in 6 months. So
exactly.
This will be a good thing for us and maybe for you too. So let's just dive right into that. Go dumpster diving into that.
Sounds good.
Did you have anything to talk about?
I do have a few things.
Okay.
A few. One of them is a kind of a news type thing that happened this week that was interesting.
What happened?
So as we perpetually move forward towards many different things, such as self-driving cars, electric automobiles, all this, exactly, in quotes, all these newfangled technology items that sound great in theory, but in practice, we'll see. There's one thing that got, we'll just say, put in the bin this week that was kind of interesting. So Ford, did you hear about the new patent that Ford filed?
No.
Okay, so this was...
Maybe?
Normally, that's not a very interesting thing. Companies the size of Ford file hundreds of patent applications a year for various random shit.
Sure.
So what this is, and I'll pull it up on screen for you right now, because I pulled up because I wanted...
Oh, wait a minute.
Yes.
Oh, shit. Sorry. I just had my sip of coffee, and it clicked.
So Ford has introduced a basic patent for an idea of a self-repossessing car. In theory.
Right.
So theory works as such. Cars connected to the cloud, connected to the network, and can already drive itself. So why not go a step further and have there be a quote-unquote secure way for either Ford or a financial company to just tell the car, bring yourself home.
Which is a thing that people have been scared about since the whole idea of self-driving cars has come out. So that kind of gives them some validation.
Yes. I am very conflicted about this because this feels, and to be clear, just from the get-go, I don't agree with this. This feels dystopian as fuck.
Yes.
I do agree if you buy shit, you should pay for your shit. That we can agree on,
yes.
Obviously. I also agree that if you don't pay for your shit, it does need to get repossessed. We can agree on those two things.
As noticed in the CTSV situation.
Yes, completely agreed. However, nothing in this world. I'm a technology guru. Nothing.
Guru? You would give yourself the credit of guru?
The guru, that was a bit strong. I'm still coffeeing myself. Let me
That's a little arrogant, Justin. Come on, bring it down a couple notches.
Let me re-English real quick.
Words is tough.
Yes. I'm a technology enthusiast.
There we go.
That's better.
I'm a guru.
I'm a guru. Nothing in this world is secure, no matter how secure it actually is.
Yeah.
There's very few things that are truly secure because security is inconvenient. So, therefore, being we've already seen many different types of ways people can hack, like wireless or self-driving systems in cars already.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to Ford, I do not think that this will be secure enough for this to be a thing. Because just think, so a few weeks ago, there was a massive article that came out that for the past several years, there's been several class action lawsuits against Hyundai and Kia.
Yeah.
Because there was a loophole that was found by putting a thumb drive in a USB port with a certain file, you could actually get the car to turn on and engage and steal a car, with a keyless fob.
A friend of mine had his car stolen in Portland because of that very thing.
So, we're that's still a problem, and we're looking at this?
Yeah.
There's many different levels to this, because, number one, obviously, who controls this? So is it Ford that controls it? Because technically, only sometimes will Ford be the institution that would be instituting a repo, only if you have a, finance through Ford.
Right.
Do the banks control this? Because that's a little sketchy if they do.
Yeah.
Especially because right now, most lending institutions, they'll let you go 2 payments past, and it's when the third one would be due is when repo, roughly 90 days out is when repo gets instituted.
Yeah.
So, if they control that, are they going to move that down to, 30 days or 60 days? So if you miss a payment by, 10 days, they'll just say, cool, your car's going to drive back. Number 3, there's another problem with this, because that's the self-repoing car is just the final straw. The worst part about this is that the car, at least with the way they wrote this patent, will slowly start to disable features.
Ooh.
So, like, at first, it'll be a warning on something like a warning on the dash.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. I'm fine with that. Like, just a little notice, like, hey, your payment's been due for 10 days, like, coming up on the dash.
Yeah.
I'm actually okay with that.
Yeah.
Then it'll be like the radio. Then it'll be like the, what was it next? Then it'll be like the sunroof, or like silly little things.
Uh-huh.
But then on their patent application, they noted that it could be even as severe as the climate control, the windows, the electric seats, all three of which could pose safety risks.
Yo, yeah.
So, like, if your heat's not working, you can't defrost windows. If you can't move the seat and your wife is really short, you can't safely find a comfortable position to drive, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Windows not being able to go down can very easily pose a safety risk.
Totally.
Or it also mentioned keyless entry, like lock and unlock.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so is your car just going to either lock you out or not let you lock it?
It probably will lock you out.
Yeah. So, like, there's many worries to this. As cool, quote unquote, as it is that we have the technology to like theorize doing this.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, so this definitely has me a little concerned.
I like cars with keys. Cars with keys are nice.
You know what's ironic? So for the longest time in like the 80s and 90s is kind of when car theft hit its peak, and that's why we started seeing like aftermarket security systems and all that bullshit.
Yeah, the Viper system.
Yep, like Viper systems and stuff like that. What's going to be ironic is, let's say in 20 years' time, there'll be enough people that have died off from knowing how to lockpick that a car with a key might become the most secure thing, just because so few people know how to trick a lock, like actually pick a lock mechanically.
Sure.
That would be kind of a funny turn of events.
So the 90 Civic actually hasn't even peaked yet. It's going to keep going.
No. The 90s...
The most stolen vehicle in America in 1997
will become the most secure vehicle in the world by 2037.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'll be kind of a wild turn of events. Because like I don't know. Again, this makes me think so many things about like our... is the automotive world moving in the right direction? And I think for like basic transportation, the answer would be yes. But I also think instead of doing something like this, realistically, we just need to have autonomous taxis that work like Uber, that don't require a driver, that somebody who really doesn't have a need to own a car, and the only reason they do is because of how inconvenient public transit is in America, could just hail that instead.
Or we could just improve our
public transit.
I think that's actually the fix.
It is. No, I agree. I think that is the downright fix, is public transit effectively having a fleet of self-driving
public transit cars. Or if there is a more solidified infrastructure for like personal mobility, such as e-bikes.
Yep.
Things like that. I mean, there are that's basically the only thing I can even really add to it, because of how deep of a rabbit hole, and not even just a rabbit hole, but how deep of a conversation that is. Like that's way above my pay grade.
It's way above both of ours.
Yeah. I do think that is the better way. I mean, there people are proposing, having car-free city centers and having massive parking lots.
Yep.
And having a commute system from those into the city centers. I like that idea.
Yeah.
As someone who has been a delivery driver.
Yeah.
Of precious items such as flowers that have water in them.
Yes.
And someone who's delivered flowers in the winter when it's 0 degrees, or in the summer when it's 100 degrees. That concerns me. And maybe there is a way to get access vehicles and delivery vehicles for like food and shit. Into places, then that might be a good exception to have for to that rule, but I just don't know.
There are some cities that have toyed with the idea of like they'll actually move roads underground, so then above ground will just be walking, underground will be delivery systems and things.
Which is a nice idea, but if there's a fucking car wreck,
yeah,
or if there's an earthquake or a flood or an electrical issue where like the lights aren't working, like okay, you have headlights, but still like if one of those roads shuts down, that fucks everybody.
Yeah, it's
so it is a nice idea. I think that's actually a reason why we should have more subways.
Yes. And I think the reason why that hasn't been done much here is just because there's a lot more volatility here than most places where subways are.
True.
Like, for instance, somewhere like New York doesn't have earthquakes because they're in the middle of a plate. They don't realistically have.
They're also on the water or next to the water.
They are. So they had to do a lot with drainage and stuff, but that's a little more overcomable than an earthquake that you can't really predict. Very accurately, at least.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Just like we experienced 3 years ago.
L.A., yeah. Trying to think. Well, L.A. used to have, like, a public transport system, and Big Oil and Firestone, I believe, got involved and killed that right off.
Yep.
I mean, Salt Lake City has their public transport system, from my understanding, mapped out after Portland's MAX system. So MAX isn't just the public transport, like the train, but it's also like buses and vans and stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of all conglomerate.
It is, and I mean, having been in and out of Portland a bunch, I mean, say what you will about Portland over the past few years with all the bullshit. I haven't been since like 2016.
Yeah, the only time I've been to Portland was 17, so not very far off.
But I spent a lot of time of my childhood going up for like Christmas and stuff, and I'm always incredibly fun. Actually, I bought my my acoustic guitar from a guitar shop in Portland.
Okay, cool.
So like I have a lot of love for that area, and having been in and out of there, I mean, I have family that live in a town called Forest Grove, which is about a 40-minute drive outside of downtown Portland.
Yep.
And so to convenience everybody, the PDX has the Max line, has one of the Max lines going to the airport. You don't have to take any car. You walk out your gate, you go down the stairs to baggage claim, you get your bags, and you walk out the door, and the train track is right there.
That's nice.
It's fucking crazy how convenient that is. And so you hop on the Max line. It's the I'm gonna fuck it up. It's either the red or the blue line.
Okay.
You take that all the way out to the end of that, which is Beaverton. You change to the other one, which either it's red or blue. I can't. I think it's red coming out of PDX, and you switch to blue, and blue goes from Beaverton all the way to. Oh fuck! This is making for terrible radio. It's some like little town.
Yeah.
But it's all the way at the end of the line, which is like a 5-minute, maybe 7-minute drive from the house.
Yeah.
And so, my aunt would pick me up. Only doing a 5-minute drive as opposed to like a 40-minute drive and dealing with Portland bullshit and like getting in and out and like all that stuff. And so, it's super convenient. And I've done like a lot of walking around downtown Portland.
Mm-hmm.
I like their system a lot. I don't know how expandable that is to like either other cities or other bigger cities. Like if they were to take that to say LA, or whatever. But.
No, and actually, your point about like Firestone and Big Oil brings up kind of a point that even ties into the Ford thing we were talking about. It's like how much. How long are we going to let stupid-ass corporations lobby a bunch of bullshit instead of just fixing the lobbying system and getting, like just tamping down on it? So
there's so much money tied into that for so many different, like, angles, like, you can't.
I know. That's the problem, is that what do you do? Because so many people, like, politics, completely regardless, have so many hands and pockets and just buried because America was built on big oil, effectively, and so they don't want to let go of that. I guess from their position, okay, I kind of understand.
Well, yeah, because like if that gets cut off, like how are we gonna fuel our fun cars?
Yeah, exactly. I don't want that.
Or more importantly, how do normal people get around?
Exactly, because we have the problem of being quite large, not quite as large as somewhere like Australia, but we are much more infrastructurally dense and like we actually have shit in the middle, whereas Australia, it's kind of like a ring. There is shit in the middle, like Aborigine tribes and things like that, and a few small cities here and there, but for the most part, Australia just has to worry about the edge.
And mostly the East Coast.
Whereas we have shit everywhere.
Right.
All the way left to right, top to bottom.
Yep.
And so we
joke about flyover states, but there's still like people
millions of people to live there.
Yeah.
It's not like some states in Australia where I know there's like 20,000 people live in the entire state.
Yeah.
Here, the smallest state, I think, still has nearly 1 million people.
I don't think so.
We're close.
Are there 1 million people in Alaska?
Actually, yeah, probably Alaska's the one that's probably the least, I would bet.
Alaska and Wyoming are
because I know
there.
I know Wyoming has over 1 billion people. Sorry, I just need to bring this down.
Over 1 billion? That's a lot of people, dude.
Not 1 billion. Fuck. Coffee is still trying to work. By population, let's see. So, yeah, Wyoming is 580,000, Alaska 730, and South Dakota 820. So, like, we're not that far off.
But still, it's not 20K.
It's not 20K. You know, our smallest state has 500,000 people in it.
Yeah.
That's still huge. And so we, you know, being that that's our smallest state, and Wyoming's actually in the top 10 largest, I believe.
As far as size?
It's like 9, that's our 10.
Which is funny because Delaware is the smallest state we have, and they're 970.
Almost double the population.
Yeah.
But like somewhere like Wyoming is a prime example because it has I-80 going straight through it. Kind of a shitty road just due to the weather that can happen there, and it has 4 or 5 of its major cities dotted along I-80, but then it has a ton of shit going all the way up north, even though I-80 only hits the south. And like all those people, there's no way you could like feasibly design a private infrastructure that would be any way form of profitable, like, you know, running people up and down for like an Uber or Lyft or things like that.
Right.
So therefore, we have weird problems like that where somebody that lives in some very small town all the way up north and maybe is like 45 minutes away from Evanston has no way to do anything other than drive.
Yeah.
There's just no viable like resource. Anyways.
I'm going to cut you off.
Yeah,
I'm hearing some static in my headphones.
Gotcha. Huh.
Like kind of like related to like a phone, like when you get like data.
My phone was like a little close. I'll move it away.
I don't know if it's that or what does it mean when your Wi-Fi has a number 6 next to it?
Wi-Fi 6. It's a band of Wi-Fi.
Gotcha.
So it's just a high-end band, like a fast one.
Okay.
So that's all it means.
Okay.
But I moved.
Is that what you have?
Yeah.
It should be what you have.
Yep.
Because I should be on yours. Yeah.
No, I moved my phone away, so that could be it. But
and I'll move mine over here.
Sweet.
Sorry, people.
But anyways, like, what I'm basically getting at is there's just a lot of weird things because so many of these larger companies control so much stuff, which then shapes our stupid regulations, which then creates stupid problems like this. And there's the perpetual problem of us as individuals owning less and less. And so
we're renting or leasing.
And so this Ford thing just makes that problem even worse. Yeah. And sadly, it's not even that there's got to be a better way. There are better ways. It's just the likelihood of them happening are slim.
Very slim.
So, but
do you have anything like fun to talk about?
I was gonna. Yes, I'm trying to move on. I'm not trying to like cyberpunk our future or anything like that.
I think it's already happening.
It kind of is.
I think it's out of your control, but
probably a little bit. But whatever. No, I was actually, for the fun of it, I pulled up NSXs on Bring a Trailer because I hadn't looked at them in a while.
Oh boy. So let's look at this. Let's do a postmortem.
Yeah, a postmortem.
After cars that have sold. What was the release date for a video?
That's a good question. I actually don't know. I will pull it up.
I'm just looking at values here. Oh, there's an NSX Crystal model and Michael Clow luggage set that sold for $12,000, almost $13K.
Okay, so
I mean the market also did soften. Like the used car market and the collector car market did start to soften.
Yep.
In the past while, anyway. What was our
August? Early August. So like that would have been that one that I'm hovering on right now, which sold on August 8th. Would have been just before our video released because our video is released on not early August, August 21st. So actually, ironically, the trend downward. There just happens to be these 3 dots on the Bring a Trailer like plot chart.
Well, they're also like really close together, so and that's the issue too. Like if you list the same kind of car over and over again, you know, the first one is going to be the highest one because people are like, "Oh shit, there's one of those."
Yep. So if I go list date, we'll just go last year, so then it filters it like a lot closer.
Sure.
There we go.
What's that top one? What's the?
Oh, it's an NSXR. Okay,
Yeah.
that
93. That's a good year.
Yeah, that makes a little more sense. Yeah, black. Or no, this is the green one. This is that Brooklyn's green and pearl. Oh,
there's one of those here.
Yeah, you took a picture of it.
Yeah, I took it on film, but I saw it up in Park City, and it had tan interior in it.
Gotcha. So this is a Brooklyn's Green Pearl over Black Alcantara NSXR with the 5-speed. It has the limited slip, so that's fucking awesome.
61K kilometers, which is about 38,000 miles. So basically the car that we drove.
Yeah.
Same.
Ooh, I kind of like the original wheels, too. Like, as silly as they are, it's got the nice Recaro buckets. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's quite lovely.
Everything about this. It's got the lovely, it's probably like a Momo wheel.
Yeah, you can see the logo from here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Little Momo period correct early 90s wheel with the big Honda H in the middle. I mean, wherever there's a Honda H, there's red badging. So,
Yep.
I mean, this is, the NSXR treatment. So,
but yeah, I mean, $305,000. That's
a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
It's not worth that, but that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, being one of a handful of.
Do you see that black MGA on the bottom right?
Yes.
Click that and see.
22,000 ends in an hour.
My dad wrecked one of those.
Oh, it's this car, like roughly that he wrecked.
Yeah. Basically, picture a 1960s MGA, but in red.
Mm-hmm.
He was driving from Park City to Colville back in like the early 70s, I think.
Yeah.
And popped a tire in that canyon, rolled 3 times, and then flipped 3 more times.
And survived.
Yeah, I mean, he had me, so he...
Yeah, clearly survived.
Yeah. Yeah, he's had a few cuts and bruises over the years, but between this and freestyle skiing and all that sort of stuff. But I've always loved the look of these. I think they look awesome.
So my neighbor 2 doors down has a teal one. That's
cool.
Very similar to...
Oh, I think I've seen that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's kind of funny. He's actually a really nice older man, but he's very old man with some of the ways that he does certain things. So like during the winter, one winter he put a cover over it and then parked it in between his neighbor's house and his. And our houses are really close together. They're only like 10 feet apart.
So it's a shelter?
Yeah, it's just kind of like a shelter. He just put a car cover over it and parked it over there for the winter so his wife could park inside.
Oh, that's nice.
It was really cute, but I was like, oh man, you could have just rented a storage unit or something.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I'm paying them shit.
Nah. I've already got space in between the houses. Why do I need a storage unit?
Exactly.
Anyways, but they are really cool little cars, and you'll also notice what's interesting about these early MGs. None of them have exterior door handles.
Yeah.
They only have the interior door handles, no lockable doors, no roof. It is as it is.
Yes.
And there's kind of a cool factor about that.
I think so.
Is it inconvenient? Oh, yeah, it's fucking inconvenient, but at the same time, it's really cool.
I mean, I can only speak to a little bit of this, but when I had that Lotus Elise for a week, it didn't come with a soft top. It came with a hard top that required Torx 40 screws. And I do realize now that if I had an angled like battery-powered screwdriver, it could have made that a lot easier.
Yeah.
Rather than like fighting... I probably put a half hour into it every time I wanted to take it either on or off.
Yep.
Massive pain in the dick.
Yeah.
That's like the only real case where I would actually prefer a soft top of something over the hard top of something else, because the soft top basically was just these 2 rails that go down the middle of the open roof, just as kind of these not buttresses but like these supports, and then you just clip those in, and then you unroll the roof laterally over it, and then you click on one side, you walk around, you click on the other side, boom, done. But I mean, that's just such a classic shape.
The wire wheels.
Yeah, it looks good in black. I'd prefer one in red. I think red over tan would be nice.
Red over tan would be a beautiful spec. I mean, at least this is black over tan. Oh no, it looks green-ish.
Is that green?
Hang on, let's go up here.
It's hard to tell.
It is green over tan.
Oh wow!
And I think part of it's this TV that we have as a monitor is by far and away not really color accurate, and then plus the pictures are
quite clearly edited.
Yes, very vibey,
color corrected.
Yep. There's a better way you can see.
Yeah.
Like it's basically like British Racing Green-ish.
And that's the interesting thing about being a photographer for a Bring a Trailer listing. Do you go, like, what route do you go with your editing? Because someone came to you because of your photo taking skills and your ability to present a car.
Yeah.
But how edited do you go? Do you take it, to the level of making the car look really great, but like isn't completely accurate? Yeah. And I'm not talking about like taking out rock chips or anything, but just like color grading.
Yeah.
Or, do you just basically not do any edits at all, but then risk, making it not look quote unquote as great and risk the sale? Like I've had to deal with that before with the Bring a Trailer stuff that I've done.
That's actually a really good point. It's difficult because everything you do as a photographer can have an effect on the end listing.
Oh, totally.
A very big effect.
Yeah.
And
did you take enough pictures? Did you get the angle of like this undercarriage shot, just right? Did you show enough of the car?
And there's certain cars that would probably benefit from a more vibey photo shoot, like certain like high-end Japanese cars or
maybe.
like tuner type cars.
Yeah, maybe.
That would have like if you had a little more attitude in the photos. Something like this, a little bit more of a classic approach would probably be better with very minimal editing.
Okay, but I was just looking at some pictures. Just imagine driving that with the top down on Antelope.
That would be a beautiful time.
Yeah.
Like
it wouldn't be much different than the Fiat that we had, but
yeah, well, way less power though. I think the Fiat was like 90 horsepower. This is probably like 45, 50.
This is a 1.6.
Let's see. Does it say it's a Bring a Trailer listing, so it should say the horsepower somewhere. That's the tires.
I mean, both of wasn't the Fiat also a 1600?
Yeah, actually, come to think of it, it was.
They're probably in the same ballpark.
Okay, yeah, they probably
That's
are.
probably. Well, I recall the car that we drove being roughly a power to weight of an NA Miata.
Yeah, because I know we looked it up. Fiat 124 Sport Spider.
The one that we drove was also modified. Wasn't it actually punched out?
I think it was.
We need to go watch our own video, I think.
I know. 128 horsepower.
Which is what an NA Miata is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I remember this feeling a little more lively. I've never driven an MGA. I haven't either. The only reference I have is other English cars of a similar period, like knowing that they're kind of slow.
Yeah.
Like a friend of mine in high school, his parents freely inherited a. It was one of either the Austins or like a small, one of the small, roadsters.
Yeah.
I just don't remember what it was, but that thing was quite slow.
They are
very slow. And I remember that was the first engine I ever saw that I was like, a 2 liter's bigger than that. Like a 2-liter bottle of Coke is bigger than that motor.
Yeah.
Because they are genuinely tiny. I actually want to try something real quick. I'm kind of curious. If we just like go back here, I'm going to go back to the main page of Bring a Trailer. I'm just going to like click through Bring a Trailer. I'm interested in just what we find if we just randomly start just going through Bring a Trailer. Like, because for better or for worse, Bring a Trailer has become a collection ground for a lot of different shit.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And obviously, as we've talked about before, the values you see on here are the very top end quite often and unrealistically attainable.
Yeah, it's been a trope of Bring a Trailer for the past almost 3 years.
Because, for instance, we have right here a 97 Toyota Land Cruiser that is
FZ. So, I mean, that's very clearly a right-hand drive.
Mm-hmm.
Or no,
it's left-hand drive.
Why would it be FZJ, though?
Let's see. FZJ was first registered in Texas. Okay, so it is. It's
an American vehicle.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oh, I mean, this is an overland build, though, because I'm noticing ARB.
Yep.
Old Man Emu. Yep. I mean, those are go-to mods.
Flexi tank, water tank.
Yeah.
Dual fuel tanks, too.
Scroll down. I kind of want to check this out, actually.
Yeah, this is really cool. It's a white, very basic white overland build. I like it because it's just bumpers, probably a slight lift, bigger tires.
Well, the Old Man Emu is those are leaf springs, probably. So a lift from the leaf springs, rock sliders,
Old Man Emu lift kit.
Yeah, we do those at ESS.
Nice.
Those are really nice. Front and rear bumpers. I mean, interior looks super clean.
Yeah,
it's an auto, which is what you want for something like this.
Mm-hmm. There you go. It's this was the last of the straight six for the Land Cruiser. I believe.
Showing 144K, and it's going for 27K with 3 hours left.
See, and for something this clean, like looking at the very minimal surface rust, like in these naturally, like all Toyotas, these have a tendency to rust out.
They really do.
Like this is a very clean. It says 4-owner. Like good Land Cruiser. I like this level of build, like for an off-road build, because this isn't outlandish. This is pretty fair on the financial scale. Like there's not a shit ton invested in this. It's still drivable as a day-to-day.
Oh, for sure.
It's not beyond daily service.
Right.
And it still looks like OEM Plus.
Yeah.
And I really like that. It just the probably 2-inch lift that it has, the bigger tires. I actually like these bumpers too. We've actually had a conversation not on air but off air about like bumpers and how yes, a lot of the like good approach angle bumpers kind of look janky.
Yeah, like on basically any aftermarket bumper on like a JK Jeep.
Yeah, but these actually fit very well.
Yeah, there was a Land Cruiser 200 series Land Cruiser. Actually, no, there were two. The one that I told you about, the burgundy one, that was a couple weeks ago, and then this last week actually we had a white one come in.
Oh, okay.
That already had the same bumper, but it was a half bumper. So basically, what you do is you take the bumper skin off the front and the back, and you trace a line over it of where the new bumper is going to go, and you cut that out of the old bumper. You install the new bumper on, and then you put the bumper skin over that with Sikaflex probably, most likely, or some sort of like gasket flexing material and bond. And it looks super clean. It looks like an OEM Plus, and a lot of people try to, they get their dicks ahead of them, and they go like, nah, do the whole fucking thing. Gotta look like it's a fucking armored truck or whatever.
Whereas I like this, because this almost looks like something you could purchase from, like, Toyota factory. I mean, it's even got the turn signals inside the metal bumper.
Well, and a lot of these also have, like, bumper or turn signals and, like, fog lights and holes for winches and things like that.
And this rear bumper is the same way. I actually really like that.
Yeah, and it's got a tire swing arm on the back, which is having overlanded.
Yep.
And in the Subaru that I did that had one of these, it was actually pretty convenient, because all you do is there's like a pistol grip handle looking thing that's horizontal that is attached to a latch, and you just go like this. You just turn it towards you, and you have to do a little bit of like finagling because like it has some rust in it.
Yep.
And you open that up, and then you just pull a pin, and then it just opens right up. Super convenient.
I was curious if
probably
this showed,
ARB.
I just want to see if this shows any like rear interior photos. I'm curious about this like water tank that this thing allegedly has. And like where the access to that is. I'm guessing it'd be in like the third row area.
It would have to be.
Okay, so that's the second row. Interesting. These have definitely got covers on them.
Oh yeah.
Which is fine. Oh, there you go. Covers on. Oh wow, that's why they have covers on them.
Those are fucking mint.
Those are some mint late '90s Land Cruiser seats. Yeah. Holy shit. I mean, everything is looking mint on this thing. This is a fantastic.
Oh, look, you have your physical compass. Oh, sub-fuel.
And your secondary tank.
Yeah.
You have a second. This is a good thing. So one thing that happens a lot with these vehicles that get a second fuel tank added is you have no clue what's in there, and so you just drain your main and then switch over to a secondary, or some people have a transfer pump.
Yeah.
So like this is awesome, and that looks OEM.
I'm sure
that looks fantastic.
I'm sure it's a factory. Secondary tank.
Yep, and then sunroof, that's kind of whatever. Floor mats look great. Okay, there you go. There's your water. So then it has the water tank just kind of built into the right side of the rear.
Built into the wall.
Yeah, which is awesome. This is all so well done. So even though there's not technically a ton done to this vehicle compared to some other Overland builds, everything that was done in here was done really well.
I'd pay $30 for that.
I'd easily pay $30 for this. It'd be a fantastic vehicle because, again, especially, it's not limited to just overlanding. You could do daily with this very easily.
Well, a lot of people do daily their overland rigs, which can be a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, this one, the main advantage of dailying this one versus the others is just it's not like I said earlier, beyond daily capacity. It's not outlandishly huge. Or anything like that. Especially because these are actually kind of small by today's standards.
Oh, yeah. Compared to, say 200 series Land Cruisers compared to GXs. It's actually probably about the same of an older GX.
Yeah.
But yeah, or people, overland. I mean, fucking the Ram Chop that we have with Expedition Superstore. That is a Dodge Power Wagon 2500 with a flatbed from Bowen Flatbeds, who are in Colorado, I believe, somewhere in Colorado, and then Four-Wheel Campers, who are out of Sacramento. They dropped their flatbed camper on there, and that's like fully kitted out. Like the way it was about a $65,000 camper on top of like we were joking, but like some people were coming up to us after or during the show when we were doing slow wrecks.
Yep.
And we were told that like if someone wants to buy it, it's $180.
Yeah, and I mean,
the owner will sell it to you for 180,
Well,
which is like
and-
a slight flip, but still.
price besides, I mean, it's just a huge vehicle. You know, like 8 to 10,000 pounds.
Easy.
You know, it
Yeah.
is a large rig. Very good, but a large rig.
You know what, though?
Yeah.
It would still do 104 on the highway.
I'm sure it will. That's the advantage of having that diesel.
We found VMAX.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back here. So I'm ooh.
Soft Targa. Soft window Targa.
67 911S, soft window Targa.
So I shot a 1968 Targa. That was a yellow, but not this yellow. I don't know what yellow this is. It's banana yellow.
Yeah, it just says yellow over black upholstery.
Yeah. But this was with the doctors.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. They had that's a 67. So it was the next year. Yellow over black. It was. I think it wasn't technically a soft window Targa, but the Targa roof that was on it came out of a restoration. Like the car had been restored.
Yeah.
Sometime in the 80s, and it was the last of the soft window Targas to come out of a box.
Wow. Okay.
So it was like 1985 or something that happened, but it was that, and it was owned previously by the royal family of Monaco.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So that was like a big money car. They sold it in like 2015. They probably sold it for like, I don't know, a couple $100,000.
Yeah, I mean, this one's at 125 with 10 days to go. So,
yeah,
I mean,
it just started.
Yeah, who knows how much longer like that'll go. That's a beautiful little car.
They're slow.
Oh, yeah.
They're Beetles.
So, like, here's another one that's always interested me. So, Jaguar, Jaguar E-Types.
Well, this is technically an XKE.
This is a later one, or sorry, an XKE. Sorry, I know that there's weird with how their naming goes.
Yeah,
but kind of the E-Type general ethos of the ecosystem back then. They are odd because you can find certain ones that are actually fairly affordable.
Yeah, like automatic coupes are like 35-ish,
and some of the 2+2s.
The
2+2s can be like kind of affordable. This is one car I've always been curious about because it is so heralded, not just because of its like looks. It's considered one of the more beautiful, elegant cars ever made.
Works 45 has one under restoration right now.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been curious.
It's fucked.
A lot of them were, because this is yet another car that spent 2 decades in the shithole, like with its values.
Sure.
So a lot of them did just go to somebody that had no clue how to care for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been curious to drive one of these with their relatively potent straight six for the time.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing
they're torquey.
Yeah, I remember seeing Top Gear's like review where they went. They had a regular E-Type, and then he drove that resto modded one.
Was that Eagle?
That Eagle, yes,
Yeah.
Eagle Speedster.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. And
Yeah.
these sound amazing in general. Like, I love how Jaguar did a pretty good job making the modern supercharged V6 replicate the older 6-cylinder sounds. They like clearly were shooting for it, because when I rented the E-Type, or not the E-Type, the F-Type that I did, I was driving it around, like, I could tell that probably some serious engineering work was done to make this sound similar
Probably.
to an E-Type.
Probably.
And I've always been curious how well they are, because they're kind of like part Grand Tourer, part sports car.
I mean, they were a sports car of that era.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it was this. 13 years earlier, roughly, the 300 SL Gullwing.
Yeah.
But like the heavy hitters, quote unquote, of like the automotive world at this time, were the SL Mercedes, this, and what was Ferrari doing in the mid '60s? I guess they were really more going after racing.
Yeah.
Back then they weren't. I mean, the GTOs and stuff at the time were awesome.
Yep. And then like this mid to late '60s was right when Lamborghini started too, with their
Well, so the 350 GT.
Yep.
Came out, was it in 66? I think it was around 66, 67.
I think it was.
I should know because I just watched the Lamborghini movie.
350 GT. 64. Yeah, so I knew it was.
But like Lamborghini like wasn't looked upon, like they are today, or like they were 40 years ago even.
And these were more trying to replicate like a Ferrari Grand Touring car at the time.
because Lamborghini was directly going after Ferrari.
Yeah, so it wasn't really until the Countach that they really
Mura.
Sorry, Mira, not Countach. Mira, when they really
Mira
took
would
off.
being the first mid-engine V12 supercar.
Where they really set a name for themselves.
Yeah.
So like these existed, but not in great fanfare. I guess Astons of the time.
Yeah, true.
Astons definitely existed in the time of the E-Type, and were
Well, they definitely existed, but they were also like, at that point they had just gotten starred in a very famous movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy to think about that. If it wasn't for James Bond, where would Aston Martin be now?
Well, and there's the weird discrepancy where Ian Fleming did the offer, right?
Yeah.
Ian Fleming originally wrote it as a Saab. I don't know if you know that.
I don't know how true that is.
It
Because
is.
I've also heard that about Porsche too.
No, it is in the books. It is a Saab.
It is.
In a few of the books, yes.
Interesting. Because I also know that Aston Martin would not sell, or they would not grant a movie car to whatever the first movie was, and they actually had to go out and buy one.
Yeah. Which is kind of wild.
Actually, no. No, it was Ford, actually. I want to say it was Ford.
Okay, that wouldn't grant him a car, and they had to go buy one?
They ended up going with Aston Martin, I think.
I gotcha.
Think. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, and I know the Saab thing happens because I did look down that rabbit hole at one point the first time I heard that, and it was true.
What was it supposed to be?
A 99.
Okay.
In some of the 70s books.
Interesting.
And specifically, I think...
Oh, in the 70s books.
Yes. So there was a period
It's
where...
not the first James Bond then.
No.
So it's not like, we couldn't get a Saab, so we're going after Aston Martin. Okay.
No, it wasn't
I need to
like
make that very clear.
No, it wasn't like that. It was some of the later books, he transitioned to a Saab, but the movies never did that. Which is fine. Like, yeah. I have no qualm with that. The Aston Martins, I think, fit the James Bond ethos really well.
I would have actually preferred to see that over... what was he driving in the 70s? Because the Lotus was in the 80s.
Yes, the Lotus was the 80s. I'm not sure what he was driving in the 70s, to be honest.
You want to Google it?
Yeah, what's one of the films from the 70s?
I don't know. I'm not a boomer.
Neither am I, believe it or not. List of James Bond films. Okay, so...
Dr. No was the first one. Interesting.
Okay, so Diamonds Are Forever.
But the famous one, like the ones that like people really talk about, it's like From Russia with Love, Goldfinger. Yeah.
Jeez, I forgot there was this many films.
There really are a lot. I mean, nobody gives a shit about Timothy Dalton. People ironically like Roger Moore, I think.
Yeah.
Lazenby was whatever.
Yeah, let me see if I can breeze through this real quick and find the car.
It wouldn't be under plot, I can tell you that.
Cast. Production, maybe writing and themes.
People are yelling at their phones right now.
It's all good. There we go. Car stunts. So apparently there was an AMC Hornet featured.
My mom is calling me.
Yeah.
Can we cut?
Yep, let me pause.
Thanks.
Okay, we have unpaused.
Okay.
Brief phone call.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like this one was AMC was the big one.
Okay.
Driving an AMC Hornet. Yeah. So, I mean, they've gone all over. I think that our generation specifically, looks back on James Bond and just thinks Aston Martin because that's all of what we have seen.
Well, it's not just our generation. It's people on both ends of the spectrum because what I've noticed with the Ark at least is it was such a legendary film, like the first ones when they came out, and then there was like this weird lull of just like mid actors, and like kind of cringy, acting and dialogue. But when people think of James Bond, they think of Aston Martins.
Yep.
They think of the watches. They think of Omegas generally, and also Rolex.
Yep.
Sean Connery did have a Rolex Submariner with a NATO strap that's a very specific style of strap, with like the stripes that go down it, and it's also a millimeter thinner than the lug width.
Okay.
So like it's actually a millimeter too small, and people now go after that look.
Yeah.
which is kind of dumb. Oh, can you go to that GT3 Touring, please? Go back.
Boop.
Nut. 992 GT3 Touring with the manual. British Racing Green or with gold wheels.
I think those are actually bronzish, but still, like, oh my god.
They look pretty gold from my angle.
Wow.
Those are probably, what, Vorsteiners?
Probably.
I don't think those are stock Porsche wheels.
It's paint protection film.
Oh, that's the perfect car. This is ladies and gentlemen, behold, the greatest car ever made. British Racing Green over tan GT3 Touring with gold wheels
manual.
and a manual. The only thing that it needs is to paint the calipers red, and it is the bomb diggity.
So I think it sounds like these are the stock wheels. Forged 2021 inch are finished in Saint Neodime. That's quite
satin.
the color. Sorry, satin. I am
Yes.
really dyslexic today, apparently.
Well, you're
satin,
also far away from the screen, too.
Yeah, satin neodyne with factory air suspension and
That's
green carpet, or is that just the TV?
I think that's the image.
Yeah, actually, I can see some.
It's graininess in the DSLR.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what's up. That's it.
Yep. This is beautiful.
We can stop now.
Oh, wow. This has the extended range optional fuel tank, almost 24 gallons. Holy shit.
That's pretty good.
That's a big fuel tank.
That is.
Wow.
It's for grand touring.
Yeah. I mean, I would hesitate to agree that this is the best car ever made. However, I look at this and I would gladly take that for almost any occasion.
Oh, yeah. Well, so the interesting thing about Tourings on the 992 generation, they don't actually follow the same plot line or ethos or mentality as the 991.2s.
Yeah.
The 991.2s were GT3s that were de-winged, yes, but also had a little bit of a softer suspension and were just kind of more easily drivable.
Yeah.
But they were only offered in manuals.
Yep.
Now, with the 992 gen, they are literally identical, except one doesn't have a wing. You can get you can get them in manuals or autos.
Mm-hmm.
You could get. I mean, there's one suspension. That's the same suspension components. And from what I've seen, the 992s actually ride rougher on the street than the 991, just normal GT3 wise.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you could. It would beat you up eventually.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of that rear end look. I think it looks a little naked without the wing.
Interesting.
I think that the 991 looked better without the wing than this does.
I think I agree.
Because this, with the built-in wing that the 992s have, this deployable wing, when it's folded in, it forms very well to the car, but it also makes the rear end of the car look like it's missing something.
I think that the rear end of just the normal Carreras looks fine. I think the rear end of the Tourings, it looks like it's kind of missing something.
You know what? I can see what it is. So right here, where there would normally be those vertical grates that go up on the regular 992, I think that looks better than these two vents. So just above the rear spoiler, but below the rear window, there's a area that's like heat vents in the normal 992 Carreras. Mm-hmm. But in this, it's two big scoops like what you have on the hood,
right?
On the front of the car, and I think that makes it look a little more naked. Whereas the grates give it some more definition on the regular Carreras.
Yeah. Also, the photographer here did not know how to use a polarizer, because some of them, they are polarized, and some of them, they are definitely not.
Yeah, like, some of them are really blown out.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this like I, as a very amateur, could possibly do a little better than this. Like, I would look at this and be like, I need more.
I mean, they have good composition.
They have really good composition. That's where I would struggle, but I think, like, eliminating quite a few of the highlights.
But you also wouldn't think to get that angle.
Yeah, I'm wondering what they used to get these. Probably just a ladder, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But that's some pretty cool, like, upper angles of this car. It is beautiful. Like, and now that we got, those are some closer ups of the wheels.
They took so many fucking photos.
I know.
Jesus Christ. I really got to up my shit.
Yeah, 151 photos. Pretty wild.
We saw a rock chip.
Yep, a couple rock chips on the front lip. Oh, no. But it says it's PPF, so that's in the PPF. So that's good, at least. But this is so beautiful. Like, have you, I can't remember, we talked about it way back when, but did you ever see photos of Seen Through Glasses GT3 Touring that he built for his tour around the world?
It wasn't a touring. It was
It was a GT3 touring.
No, it wasn't. It's a GTS or a Carrera S or something.
It was a GT3 touring.
No, it was a turbo car. It wasn't a touring.
Let me make sure.
I promise you, it wasn't a GT3 touring. For where he drove around the world?
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, that's his new one. That's his because he just got
I saw that. Yeah.
another GT3 touring. Oh, that's what it was. Sorry, not GT3 touring. It was a Carrera T.
That's what it was.
Yep. That's what it was. Okay, yeah.
And I understand how like one could possibly fuck those up because T back in the day meant touring, but now all the T is a base 911 with it's basically just a package, really.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I forgot what exactly it was. That's what it was a Carrera T because I knew it wasn't just a base Carrera.
Well, a T is a base Carrera.
Oh, really?
Yeah, look it up.
Okay.
So, I mean, technically, it's not just a Carrera 2. It is the T. But so the T goes into 911, it goes into Boxster, and it goes into Cayman. I can't remember if any of the SUVs get it, but T is basically a package that comes with. It's the smallest engine. There's some weight savings, very minimal weight savings somewhere. But it's basically the way, if you want your more... Basically, if you really wanted one of these for track purposes...
Yeah.
And if you wanted a base platform to build on...
Get a Carrera T.
You get a T.
Okay. And that makes sense. Like, he... I thought the ethos of this trip was really cool, because I did... At this time, I was following him relatively closely and watching, like, what he did. And he did come through Salt Lake as well.
Yeah, he linked up with Lux Auto Spa, and they did a thing with the 959 up in East Canyon.
And... he put, I think, 40,000 miles in that car in 1 year. Like, really drove it.
Pretty good.
It drove on every continent, and he, I only listened to one of them, but one of his podcasts after the fact, he explained the logistics of all this and how much of a nightmare it was, because even though they put 40,000 miles on it, the car was undrivable for 6 months while it was on containers around the world.
Yeah.
So that 40,000 miles was in 6 months.
Yeah.
Of, traveling.
Of actual drive time.
So it's really cool idea and a really unique way to like get content for an entire year. I mean, he's like, it nearly bankrupted me, but it was amazing. I'm
sure it was worth it.
I'm sure it was totally worth it, because he got to just travel every continent except for obviously Antarctica.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Being able to just transport your car everywhere like that. And
must be nice.
Yeah, must be. No, for sure. No, I mean, and fortunately, he's one I can say he's not just some rich snob. He has, like, built himself up really well. And this, he did explain, like, this was like he used every ounce of money he possibly had. Like, this drained every savings account.
Oh, sure.
Because, the car's not worth nearly as much than a 1 year old, less than 1 year old car when he sold it right after the trip.
40,000 miles.
With over 40,000 miles.
And he sold it before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he sold it before things went back up.
Mm-hmm.
And it, had been modified and all this other stuff. So.
Yeah, and it had been beaten on.
Yeah, it drove across Australia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like some pretty inhospitable places.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but that's cool. But I'm curious if we go back again, what else we'll find? Because I'm actually kind of enjoying just these random dives, like going through, what the hell? Like, here's a weird bring a trailer thing. A Ferrari F40 wire sculpture. That's kind of odd.
Mm-hmm.
Or a random Mercedes. Hey, there you go. We can get another Mini to do a shoot on.
There we go. How much do they want for it? Or what's it at?
It is.
It
hasn't even been bid on.
Oh.
Bidding open.
You should just throw $5 down.
I wonder if they have like a minimum bid. Just open for bidding, registered bid. So it doesn't look like they do, but that would be funny. These are a hoot to drive.
10:40. That was like 15 minutes ago.
Wow. Yeah. So it literally just launched.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But it's always kind of wild, the random stuff you can find on
Sherp.
There's a Sherp. Yep. $82,000 ends in an hour.
That's actually pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Because those new are like $130.
Yeah, and they're pretty cool. Like, if for whatever reason you need something to do what a Sherp does, there's not many other options.
Oh, yeah.
Because this Sherp will just do anything.
Except go quickly.
Whoa, there you go.
There you go, yeah.
So
1970. So my dad had a 78 SC. Didn't look anything like this. This is a safari car with a roof rack and pod lights and a lift with tires and stuff with a ducktail out the back. 930 brakes, tubular headers. I mean, this would still be an NA car. Yeah, it's a 3-liter flat 6. Scroll down. Trying to make this entertaining for people that aren't here.
Yeah. It's got the 5-spoke, like,
The Fuchs.
The Fuchs wheels. And then quad exhaust outlets. I didn't actually know. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's got quad exhaust outlets.
See some engine shots or something. Oh,
yeah.
That is a...
That's a Spartan interior.
Well, also the photo is super based.
Yeah. Very. Like, they clearly like blue Abadi.
Yeah.
It's just very blown out blue. I like the stripped interior look, which is the floor mats down there and the buckets. It's nice and proper. There's your engine.
Carbon intake.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Some good headers.
Yeah, wrapped headers.
Mm-hmm. This would be a sweet little thing. And, like, I mean, it's only going for $37,000.
Is this a 915 gearbox, or did this get swapped for a G50?
Doesn't say there. GM style, MSD ignition.
If you just go to the top, it'll say how many gears it has.
There it is right there.
5-speed.
Yeah, so it has been.
So it's got the 5-speed in it. So which is an improvement because the 4 speeds are
quite wide.
Quite wide and not as especially depending on what the build date was and what cars those actually went in. They weren't that reliable.
Yeah, whereas this is cool. I mean, honestly, this going for $37,000 right now is actually a pretty good deal.
For how many miles?
For a build like this, 120,000 miles shown. So like
TMU.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. But still,
you should throw a bid down, Justin.
I want to.
Just bid 38. Just 1,000 over. What could possibly go wrong?
Accidentally buying a $38,000 911 that I can't afford.
You can afford it. Come on. Just take it out of the mortgage.
There's a difference between I can find a way and I can afford it.
Yeah.
It would be fucking cool though. Like this is I do like how this is pretty well built. They've taken off the side skirts. They've taken off the valence in the rear. Like they've clearly built it to do its purpose.
Yeah. I mean, for those listening at home that aren't looking at this listing right now, imagine a black air-cooled 911 with a ducktail out, on the back. A roof rack with the spare tire on the roof, and some sort of off-roady tires with downsized wheel size.
And some mud flaps.
And some mud flaps and a lift, and fucking Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, rip the carpet out, replace the seats with bucket seats, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know what's been done to the engine. I don't know, like, what they've done, build-wise to that.
Oh, that's cool. They replaced the analog clock with an oil pressure gauge. That's good. Or oil pressure warning light. The speedometer does not work. Cool. You don't need it where you're going.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But it doesn't sound like I was just reading through this engine portion.
964 cams, oil-fed timing chain tensioners, which is good. Ceramic-coated tubular headers, so okay. MSD ignition, plug wires.
Oil cooler.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know about the engine control unit to know if it probably is a Bosch, like mechanical.
Yeah, so I'm going to bet it probably makes a little bit more than stock. Like, honestly, having electric ignition is such a big upgrade over a distributor, just for reliability purposes.
Well, so I don't know when they actually went to, like, MFI.
Yeah.
Or what the electrical, like, when they made that changeover. But, I mean, this being a 78, I don't think it's carbed. It wouldn't be carbed.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, so the 70s, like end of the 70s, early 80s, those cars were making 175 horsepower.
Yeah.
Maybe this is making, 964 cams, JE pistons. I mean, this is a built engine. It's probably making 200.
Which is for a moderate upgrade for that type of thing.
Well, yeah, so this is a 3-liter motor, and when the 3.2s came out, those were like 220.
Yeah,
so maybe it's in the ballpark of that.
If this is approaching like a 3.2, that would be a pretty substantial upgrade, especially that this car is well, it's probably not any lighter due to like the addition of roof rack and bigger tires and stuff like that. But with some of the stripping, they might have maintained the original weight.
I mean, there's also going to be more drag on the wheels because of the bigger tires.
But the 5-speed will help a little bit with some shorter gears.
True.
So that's honestly something like this. I would love to actually drive and be like, how does this actually do? Because that does seem like a pretty compelling build package.
Yeah, we should find someone with the Safari. Where would you want to drive a Safari 911, Justin?
The Knolls.
That would be cool.
That would be really cool.
That would be cool.
The Knolls, or a lot of the off-road tracks above Bountiful here, just right around the North Salt Lake area. There's a lot of really good, like, they're not fully graded, so they do have a bunch of humps, ups and downs and stuff like that, but they are effectively groomed trails that you could drive around in. An older 911 like that is narrow enough that you could go on side-by-side tracks fairly easily.
Depends how much you care about the paint.
Yes.
It really does. I would submit to you that you probably don't want to do that. I would like to take this to Death Valley.
That too.
Not in the summer, obviously. Like Death Valley, like this time of year, like end of February, early March.
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet. Basically, the place you just went would be fantastic.
Yeah, take it to Trona Pinnacles. Take it to Whitney Pocket. This thing through Whitney Pocket, Jesus.
Especially if that exhaust sounds as good as I'm sure it probably does.
Oh yeah.
That would be just fantastic. Like if you're in the lead car, window down, so lead car, so you don't get a bunch of dust.
Sure.
And just bombing it at a good like 60, 70, 80 on some of those trails.
No, you wouldn't want to hit 80 where that road is, but yeah, that would be fucking epic.
Yeah, just keeping it like
you would catch air. This car in Whitney Pocket, you would be catching air at like 60.
I also do have to wonder with a lot of these, depending on how well the suspension was built and tuned, are you gonna rub? How much? Especially with this rear wheel, it looks pretty damn close to rubbing.
Depends on the camber and depends on the angle.
Yeah.
I mean, in that photo, it looks better.
Yeah.
When it's not in the shade, when you can actually see some light on it, it probably tucks in.
Yeah, I would hope that they would have done the work on the suspension to get it to properly tuck.
Yeah.
But that's
the thing that sucks about like being in Utah, that like we don't like have like trails that aren't like super fucking steep.
Yep.
Because like out east they have a lot more like dirt trails that just go through forests.
Yeah.
And we don't really, at least as far as I know, we don't really have an abundance like that.
We don't. They do exist. So if you go all the way up Farmington Canyon and go off on some of those side chutes, they're basically valleys in kind of the middle of multiple peaks.
Yeah.
That you have trails like that.
Yeah.
But we don't have abundance of them now.
Yeah. Or like maybe some stuff like out by Mirror Lake Highway.
Yeah.
Probably.
Actually, Mirror Lake Highway would probably be good. Or I bet you there's a good amount of them that we just don't know about around Nebo.
Maybe.
Just in like on some of those turnoffs.
Well, so with my Google Maps understanding, because I go dumpster diving.
Yeah. Dumpster diving on Google Maps.
Yeah, it'll be like 1 in the morning, and I'll be like a couple drinks deep. I'll be like, oh, where does this one go?
Yeah.
That's my kind of drinking problem. My understanding with like that part of the state, it's actually graded dirt roads.
Yeah.
That go up mountainsides.
Okay.
A lot of it. Roads that if they were paved would be truly epic. But, like Nebo, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know as far as like through, and it's just, it's a different vibe. Because like there's like out east from what I've seen is like loose dirt through the trees. It's not that rocky.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, fucking 1978 911 SC, lift it, roof rack, ducktail. What were the tires? You were like grabbers or some sort of all terrain. General grabber.
Oh, General grabbers. Yep.
AT2s.
Mm-hmm. Like that's a pretty sweet little tire to have on there, and on again the original 16s. That's what's cool to me is keeping the original 16s. You still got some good sidewall.
Well, we don't know if they're original 16s, but they are period correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that would be sweet. Like I might check into this later today and see what that goes for because I'm really curious because I think 37 is a really good deal for that.
Yeah, I would be surprised if it. I mean, it's the last 2 hours of the bid. I mean, if it goes for under 50, I would be surprised.
Yeah. Because I think the ceiling for something like this would probably be 50, at least from what I would think would be.
Only because it's TMU. If it wasn't TMU, it would probably be a $70,000 car.
Yeah,
probably.
Yep, I agree, because that's just, speedometer doesn't work, therefore who knows.
Exactly.
So cool. I mean, you got anything else for us? Or?
Not really. If you're still listening, check in with us on our YouTube in April, because we're going to have some weekly content coming out. I can't talk today because I got some interesting sleep last night, so we'll put it that way.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have a bit more to talk about next week, because next Saturday we're filming something really cool.
Oh, well, and also next week I'm going to have an Omega Speedmaster.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So have some watch stuff to
at
dive
that
into.
point, hopefully I'll return the watch, because I'm keeping it for a week.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't picked it up yet. I'm up here in Syracuse. I'm driving down to Eagle fucking Mountain. It's over an hour drive to get down there, so I'm gonna drive down and pick up the watch. And I'm actually exchanging. I'm doing an exchange. I'm gonna lend the owner of that my Laurier Neptune.
Mm-hmm.
That's on a green NATO strap. Actually, I have it right here.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. I mean, as we talked about last week when you mentioned this, I believe, like, you're definitely getting the better end of this deal.
Yeah, because Omega Speedmasters are 4-figure watches, and this is a $400 watch. But,
yeah.
So I'm lending him this.
Okay. Yeah.
Like okay. If you have your Google open, it's a Gen 2 Laurier Neptune. It's the blue variant, so it's a dark blue dial with a blue aluminum insert on the bezel. 200 meters, water resistant. Has a really stiff bezel. If you actually want to turn it.
Yeah.
Screw down crown, stainless steel. It's not on the original bracelet. It's on a green NATO strap by my friend Robert, who owns a company called Mushi Straps.
Nice.
Actually, you should try this on. You might like it. I don't know.
I do like the domed glass.
Super domed crystal. Yeah, so that's not sapphire. That's acrylic, and that's part of the vibe. So Laurier, I'm going to make this real quick. Laurier, with all their watches, they take multiple homages from different watches from, say, as early as the 30s and as late as like the 70s, and they inject that into their watches. So that's like a combo of like an old Omega Seamaster. I think they said Blancpain 50 Fathoms, I think, and also the OG Submariner.
You're right. That crown is really stiff.
The bezel?
The bezel, yeah.
So you turn it left, not right.
Yeah. It's pretty stiff.
you hold it up to the mic.
Let's see if I can get it like in a way that I can. Oh, wow. Yep. Oh, come on. Oh, you can hear it a little bit. But
Here.
Yeah, it's pretty stiff. That's cool though. I like the I like the green fabric strap. I think that actually looks really good with the blue.
I think it does too. It's like just the right amount.
There it goes.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. And that's not bad. It's also cool that it's like a custom strap. I actually,
I mean, it's not custom. I mean, NATOs are kind of a popular thing, and it's just an orange, or not orange, sorry, olive green.
Yep.
Here, I'm gonna do this.
Oh yeah, there you go. Oh yeah.
And like once you get it going, like it's fine, but it's just like getting it going. It's like it's a pain. Yeah, this is like a $400 watch when it was new.
Okay.
This is not a watch I would ever get rid of because it resembles a lot of the ups and downs of life that I've worn it during. Say power sliding GT3s and also losing someone important in my life.
Yeah.
Those were not the same experience, but
I was gonna say that was a back-to-back interesting combo.
yeah. That was not in the same instance. Those were very far apart. But
yeah.
This is a watch I'll never get rid of, but because of the fact that I know I'll never get rid of it, I'm willing to lend it to my buddy Jason. So I mean, thanks, Jason, for letting me take your Submariner for
exactly.
a week.
Who's willing to lend you something technically above it in return, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean the not the Seamaster, but the Speedmaster being one of the most prolific watches of all time.
Yep.
One was worn to outer space by Neil Armstrong. People are still fucking talking about it over 50 years later, which I have things to say.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll be talking about that next week. We're gonna be. What else are we doing?
We're shooting a car on Saturday.
We're shooting a car on Saturday.
That'll be a fun thing to talk about.
Yeah, you and I need to plan the logistics of that.
Yep.
And buy our merch.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. We'll see you next time. Until next time, I've been Gavin.
And I've been Justin.
And this has been the Expedition of Speed podcast. Now go fuck off.
Ouch.